Hey class, in this video I'm going to teach you how to make the passenger base section for the Automoblocks parts. So what you need for this is your 5.2b technical drawings that has the passenger base drawing on it. So if you look at your drawing, I'm going to go and start a new sketch on the XY plane, and the very first thing I'm going to do is make a rectangle, and then I'm going to fill out the edges. So the rectangle has a couple of dimensions here. The length is 1.975 and the height is going to be 1.59. Alright, so that gives us our first rectangle. And we can go ahead and fillet these corners here. Each corner is going to have a fillet of about 0.2 inches. Change my fillet to 0.2, and each corner is going to get a fillet applied to it. And there we go, there's our 4 corners. Alright, so now that we got the basic shape of this thing done, what I'm going to do next, we have a circle, a rectangle, a triangle, and a star. I'm going to save the star for last because that's probably the trickiest part. Let's do the circle first. The circle is 0.58 inches in diameter, and then we'll dimension it so we locate it properly. From the left side to the center point, this dimension should be 0.49, and from the top to the center point, this dimension is 0.34. The circle is finished. Let's go on to the rectangle. This rectangle has a dimension of 0.58 for both sides. And we'll dimension it from the top to the top of the rectangle is going to be very small. It's only going to be 0.05 inches. And then the sides, from this side to this side, is going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to be 0.2. There we go. Our rectangle is now done as well. 0.2 inches. I'm going to drag that down. You can see it. There we go. All right. The third part is going to be our triangle. The triangle is going to be a little bit tricky, but it's not too bad. The button underneath the rectangle, we can click on that and go down to polygon. So we're going to make a 3-sided polygon for an equilateral triangle. This triangle, I'm just going to draw it first, and then I'll dimension it later. I'm just going to draw it. We need to put a constraint on it. So we're going to put a vertical constraint on this left side of the triangle. So it's vertical. I'm going to dimension this left side, and this dimension should be 0.638. So the size of the triangle is now done. It's going to be 0.638 on each of the sides. And then we'll dimension from the very bottom of the triangle down here to the bottom line. This dimension is going to be 0.05. And the other dimension from the right side of the triangle to the right side of the part, this dimension will be 0.2. And now the triangle is finished. So we've got one last part, and I'm actually just going to zoom in here for this star piece. So the star, if you look at the drawing closely, you're going to have 2 circles that are both construction lines, and then 1 pentagon, also a construction line. I'm going to click on circle, then I'm going to change my line to construction line up here with this construction constraint. And I'm going to draw 1 circle that is going to be 0.605. I'm going to draw another circle from the same center point. This circle is 0.412. And then I'm going to draw an inscribed polygon. So the polygon is going to have 5 sides, 5 points to it, so 5 points. And we'll just start from the center point again, and I'm going to go out about like this. I'm going to go ahead and put a horizontal constraint on the top line, just so it's nice and even. Alright, so that is all set. So we've got, again, 2 circles and a pentagon. Next, we have to use lines, and we'll change back from construction lines. So this first line, we're going to start at one of the edges of our pentagon. We're going to go in to about the top of the circle, and then we're going to go back out. Oops, let me fix that real quick. Go back from this point of the pentagon and back to the circle. And we want to make sure that these two lines are equal. I'm going to use the equals constraint. I'm going to click on those two lines just to make sure that they're equal, and now they are. So that is perfect. All right, the next part I want to do is you can either do that, the same thing, all the way across, going line by line. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try a circular pattern. I'm going to click circular pattern. My geometry, I'm going to click those two lines, click and click, and I'm going to click on the axis of rotation, and I'm going to click on this circle inside. So that's going to put my different lines in here, and I only need 5 repetitions, not 6. I'm going to change my 6 to 5, and that'll give us this nice star-shaped pattern. I'm going to click OK. Alright, so I think the only thing that really needs to happen here, I'm just going to make sure that all my endpoints are coincident. And it looks like those constraints already exist, so that's alright. Alright, I think we've got everything done. We've got our circle, our rectangle, our triangle, and our star. I'm going to finish the sketch, and we'll try to extrude it here. And if we run into problems because of that star, sometimes that happens, we can fix it here. So I'll click on extrude, and sure enough, our star is not being highlighted. So we need to use the sketch doctor for this part. So in the sketch doctor, we're basically looking for the open loops, and we're going to try and close them all up. So I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to go to close loop. When I click on close loop, it's going to come up with this dialog box that says select a curve that is connected to the start or end of the loop of the open loop. Continue selecting curves until the loop is closed. Press Control to clear all selections. So I'm going to click OK. And so it highlighted this section right here. So I'm going to start by clicking this part. I'm going to click yes. And yes again. So that way it's closed. I'm going to go and keep on clicking on the next part of our star. Click yes. I'm going to click on the next part of our star. Click yes. I'm going to click this line. Click yes. And I'm going to click on this line and finally click yes. Now the loop has been successfully closed. You just kind of follow along the lines, follow along the path until you get them all closed and click OK. Now we'll try it again. We'll go to Finish Sketch, Extrude, and we'll click the center part. In this part, we're gonna have a thickness of 0.3 inches. Type in 0.3 for the extrusion, press Enter, and we're almost done. The last thing we need to do is shell it. We're gonna click on Shell. This is actually the front of our part, so we need to go around to the back of our part. And we're going to click on this piece on the back, and our shell thickness is going to be 0.01. 0.01 is the shell thickness, then click OK. So now we have the back of our part shelled. Perfect. Then finally, if you want to go ahead and color it, you can click on the color wheel, click on an edge, and you can color it whatever color you want. I'm going to stick with the default green because that looks pretty good. There you have it. We're finished with the passenger base. You can go ahead and save that in your AutomateBlocks folder. Good work.